Jefferson County Post Sports with Mike Stanley, brought to you today by Angie Cox State Farm Insurance. Our guest today is Jefferson County head football coach, Coach Kenny Cobble. Kenny, thanks for joining us, man.
No problem. Glad to be here.
Today we're going to kind of talk a little bit about the season coming up. I know on Friday night they take on Grace Christian Academy, and I guess just to start things off, 2-8 a year ago, it seems like these guys are very confident heading into this season.
Well, I mean, 2-8 will motivate you, and I think our seniors really took it personally. They wanted to make a definite difference going into this senior year, and I think they have. And that started with them in January, in our off season. They were cranking up, ready to go, excited to get back at it, and they really, I think, focused on holding themselves and holding each other accountable, and they really pushed our group, I think, to be the best they could be day in and day out. So I think they should have some confidence because they've worked to gain it. They've done the tough things. They've been where they're supposed to be all the time, and so when you get that kind of thing going on, and it's from your kids and it's peer led, I think it generates confidence in your locker room.
Right. Talk a little bit about those seniors. I know you got quite a few just skill position seniors that are leading the team. Talk a little bit about Austin Jenkins, Noah Carter, Gurrell, Noah Smiley, and then of course Dalton Morgan in the backfield.
Yeah, we've got a lot of guys that have really stood out. Obviously, you start with Austin at the quarterback position. He's everything you'd want a quarterback to be. He's vocal. He's a people person. He's a guy that pushes himself all the time and is not afraid to push others. So that's been great change for us. Noah Carter's back. I think you're going to see him playing with a chip on his shoulder. He comes out and plays 7 games worth of receiver last year, second in our district, and they were looking for an all-district player, and I think you'll see him playing with a chip on his shoulder, and he's prepared like he's got a chip on his shoulder. And I think our kids have kind of fed off that, and I know that he did. Dalton Morgan will be back, and he's going to be a standout for us, I think, at corner and at running back. He stepped his game up. He's been very unselfish about having both those roles on defense. We know he loves carrying the football, but man, he's been stellar for us defensively, and he's ready to take on that role. And then you got Gurrell, of course. Gurrell's starting to generate a lot of interest college-wise, as are some of these other guys. But Gurrell, when he gets off the bus, people notice it, and he's a guy that's really worked hard. And they voted for captains last week, and Gurrell was our leading vote getter. So you know that he's got the respect of his peers. He's doing it through his actions and through his words. And so we're excited about those guys, And then up front, you've got Noah Smiley, Jacob Varney, Logan Townsend. I mean, 3 guys that absolutely push themselves to the limit, regardless of what we're doing. So any environment they're in, they're, number 1, having a good time, but number 2, they're getting after it. And I think that kind of leadership and that kind of idea that, hey, we've got work to do, but we're going to have fun while we're doing it, has really changed the dynamic in our locker room this summer. Yeah,
you talked a little bit about Gurrell and him gaining interest from schools this summer. He's had a phenomenal summer going through camps and things of that nature. As far as a production standpoint on the team last year, he did what he was asked to do, and made plays when he had the opportunity. Talk a little bit about his mindset going into this season. He's going to be carrying probably a larger role.
Right. Well, I mean, I think the first thing that I notice about Gurrell is just his confidence. I think his belief in his abilities, he's gotten his body control improved tremendously. His understanding offensively and defensively, probably particularly defensively, I've seen a ton of growth from him there. He's got a confidence that he may not have had last year. And so I think anytime you have that confidence transfer over into your play, into your game, it kind of ups your level as far as how you play. So I think you're going to see a different him, and he's got the big body and he can do a lot of different things, but you're going to see a lot more aggressive guy, and I think you're going to see, people are going to have to make some decisions. What are they going to do? Are they going to try to double Gurrell? And if they do, it's going to leave Noah wide open, and it's going to leave a run game open. And so we like, if we can stay healthy, we like the options that we've got offensively because we really feel like we can put some pressure on some people.
Yeah, and I know I had said that earlier on in one of my articles. I had said, the offense during the Jamboree looked as though, they're going to put pressure on every defense you guys play. And I said yes, even including Maryville, because it's funny looking at the schedule. People have already, written Jefferson County off, especially against Maryville, because they're so talented year in year out.
Sure.
With Corals up there. But kind of talk about going into the new conference, the new 6A classification, and kind of how far spread it is.
Well, I tell you, it's 32 teams across the state. You've got 4 districts, and that's it. You know, everybody's going to be in the playoffs, but competition-wise, you know, it's as strong as it could possibly be. And I think our district is leading the pack in that. You've got obviously Maryville, who's the premier football program in our state, all classifications. And what George has done up there is just tremendous, and so I think they speak for themselves. But then you add Dobbins Bennett, and you add Science Hill, and you've got Hardin Valley, who's up and coming, and you know, William Blunt's in there, and Bearden, and it's just on and on and on. And you're going to be playing top teams week in and week out, and so we know the schedule's up, and we know the ante's up, but you know, we feel like we've improved as a team, and I think our guys are eager to see that. And you know, a lot of people have kind of written us off; they're not expecting a whole lot from us, and you know what, we'll fly under the radar, and we'll see what happens.
I think a lot of people may have forgotten last year. You know, Scott Branton came in as the new offensive coordinator. You guys, it was the first year in that offense. Going into year 2 in his offense with Austin at the helm, going back to look at the teams past that Branton has been a coordinator for, it seems like Austin is kind of the prototypical quarterback that he likes to have.
Absolutely, and I think you know, having the second year, you can see in the spring just how quick the decision making from Austin was, how much faster he's getting the ball out, he's getting us lined up, he's making checks when he needs to, and he's making the right decision. So that's tremendous. And people forget also, you know, Austin transferred here after the school year started last year. By game 3, he takes over at quarterback, and he's learning a new school, a new system, a new set of players, a new set of coaches, and that on top of that was his first year as a starter at quarterback anywhere. So I think that year of experience, and now moving into the second year, I think everybody's a ton more comfortable. And here we've got a second-year starter at quarterback and some weapons on offense that we feel pretty confident about. And Coach Branton certainly has worked hard in the offseason to try to put us in position to get those guys the ball and let them make plays and get themselves on the map and do some things that I think people are going to be excited to watch.
Yeah. I guess moving forward, you know, coming off of a season like last season, what has to happen this season for Jefferson County to be successful and to be, in Coach Kenny Cobble's eyes, a successful season?
Well, I mean, for our kids, I think, you know, everybody's going to pay attention to wins and losses. That's just the nature of the game. It'd be great for them to get off to a good start. We want to get off to a strong start so that we can establish that confidence. I mean, I want to see our guys play with maximum effort every snap and make sound decisions. And we tell them every week, we've been talking about it, you're going to be as good as the teams you play regardless. It's just going to be a matter of, are you going to play better than them on that Friday night? And I think having that confidence and that belief in your abilities is going to be critical to your success. And then, of course, how you handle any adversity that might pop up. And I think that's where our seniors come back in. You know, we mentioned how strong they are from a character standpoint because they're as high a character class as I had. And that's in 18 years, not just in my time here. And it's been impressive. So I think how they handle our locker room and how they kind of handle themselves regardless of the situation will be critical to our success too.
Now, you know, if you look at the schedule, yes, the conference is harder, but your guys' out-of-conference schedule is probably equally as hard.
Yeah.
You know, you have Grace, you have Carter, you have Morristown West. Those teams are, you know, could easily fit into this conference just as well.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Grace, who 2 years in a row, I think, state semifinals. Program that's done nothing but win and kind of gotten on track, and Coach McCamey does a great job with those guys. And so we know every week that there's no off button, there's no breather, there's no room. You know, we've got to go every week, and I think that really just it helps us because you know you got to be on point every week. And so those guys are a great team. Carter's had a great last couple of years, a lot of success, playoff runs. And then Morristown West, I mean, people are talking about this being probably the best team that they've had since they made the run to the state championship game a few years ago. So we've got our work cut out for us. And that, again, it goes back to you got to be game on every time you put it on. Right.
Not to change subject or to take the line off the varsity team, but, you know, fans ordinarily don't come out to, say, like the freshmen and don't see what is up and coming. You know, kind of talk about the freshman team this season and the guys that are there in the skill position and on defense and things like that.
Well, we're excited about that group. They're a group that's had some success at the middle school level. I think Mari was undefeated the last couple of years, and The Jeff team has been very successful. So I think you've got a group of kids that as they continue to mesh together and kind of blend together and see who's going to fit where, they're going to be fun to watch. There's some talented kids at the skill spot out the receiver. We've got some guys that can get it to them in the backfield at quarterback, and some guys that like to run. It's exciting. And so I think the future of the Patriot team's in pretty good hands.
Yeah. Some quick information from our sponsor, Angie Cox State Farm. When we return, we'll talk about Grace Christian on Friday night. Welcome back to Jefferson County Post Sports with Mike Stanley, brought to you today by Angie Cox State Farm in Jefferson City. And Coach, I know we've kind of hit on Grace a little bit, but let's go more in depth on what they bring to the table. I know, like you said, they return 18 of 22 kids from a state semifinal team in Class 2A, and I think a lot of people say, oh, well, they're 2A, Jefferson County 6A, it probably won't even be a ball game. It's not the case anymore.
Right. I think regardless of classification, you can throw that out the window. I mean, they're going to put 11 kids on the field that can play. Yeah. They're a private school. They've got the ability to try and go out and kind of get some of the players that they want to get. And they've got a talented team. Yeah. And Coach McCamey does a great job with them. They're very disciplined. They hustle to the football, and they're going to be in the right place at the right time. And he does a good job with it. They run the wing tee and try to power run game you some, and they'll mix it up with the spread offense just a little bit when they need to. And got a couple of transfers in. Austin Kirby came from Knox Central, so we saw him last year at the quarterback position, and he's kind of started feeling his way through and gotten comfortable in their offense, and he's a playmaker. So they've got very capable football players, and I don't think classification is going to be weighing on their mind at all coming in.
Yeah. Now I know that they run a base 4-3 defense a lot of times. What kind of difficulties are you guys going to have moving the ball against that defense?
Well, they're pretty good up front. They've got some size up front. They move well up front. So I think protection is going to be something we're going to have to key on and make sure that we're taking care of what we need to take care of there. They're also very disciplined. So you're going to see them be in the right places at the right time. I think for us, it's going to come down to, are we going to be able to execute? Because I think if we're in the right place doing what we're supposed to be doing, I think a lot of that will take care of itself. So really, in that situation, although they do have some good playmakers, it's going to be us focusing on, if we do our jobs right, we feel like we can move the ball.
Yeah. I know you said that they run the wing tee on offense. Now, I ran the wing tee here at Jefferson County when Coach Scott Meadows was here.
Right.
And it's all misdirection. Everything's trying to get you off balance on defense. How do you keep those guys at home on defense?
I think it starts with just their eye discipline. Are you going to read your keys? When we've set all those guys up. Here's your specific key. This is what you're going to focus on. And if you focus on those things, it's going to take you to the right place. And we talk to them about that kind of offense and about what their plan is and what an offensive coordinator in the wing tee wants to do. They want you looking at one thing when you should be looking at another. Yeah. So that's the whole thing. It's just going to be how disciplined are we going to be with our eyes to make sure we're reading our keys and getting to the football when we're supposed to, as opposed to reading what they want us to read. That's probably going to send us the wrong way.
Right. Now, normally in a wing tee offense, you have a scat back and a power back. I've watched a little bit of film on them. It's almost like they don't have the scat back, but every ball carry they have is a physical ball runner.
They are. They're physical up front. They're physical in the backfield, and they've got those guys that just are really good high school football players, and you can tell they enjoy playing the game, and they're patient runners. They let the play develop, find their crease, and then try to hit it vertical as quickly as they can once they find it. So they do a really good job, and you can tell that those guys have been around the game and played a lot of football over the last couple of years, because it's although there's some new faces and there are a few new faces at their skill spots. It's like they're fitting right in and picking up where the other guys left off. But
they're not primarily, I know when you run a wing tee, you're primarily a run offense. Now, they will throw the ball out of the wing tee quite a bit as well.
Absolutely, especially with Kirby. With Kirby being in there, he's a confident kid. He's got a good arm. And what they'll do is just like a lot of wing tee, they'll try to lull you to sleep and then hit the big one on you. And they're going to take some shots down the field. Some of them are just one receiver routes where they're trying to play action you and hit you over the top, and they'll take their shots down the field, and he's got the arm to get it down there.
Now, talk a little bit about their special teams. I know that the kicker probably doesn't put it in the end zone every time he kicks the ball.
Well, what they've got a new guy. They've got a new kicker. They graduated last year's guy, and so we know that particularly with their kickoff team, they're going to move it around quite a bit. They're going to One time they may try to kick it deep, another time they may kick it really short and see if they can get you mixed up in a deal where you might drop it or have a different guy covering the ball. So they're pretty sharp about that. With their PAT field goal, they come out in some kind of wild formations a little bit, trying to catch you off guard or get you misaligned so they can get 2 points instead of 1. You can tell they invest some time in their kicking game because they try to do things to make it tough on you to prepare for, stuff that you don't see necessarily week in and week out. So we got to be on our A game when it comes to the special teams because they're going to show us some different looks.
Yeah, without going in, I guess, too much depth and too much detail on it, and kind of giving the whole game plan away. What is the mindset on offense this week facing Grace Christian's defense?
I tell you, if we can make the routine plays, just make the routine plays that we need to make, I think we'll be in pretty good shape. But I'll tell you, I think our guys' mindset and I think our offensive staff's mindset is to attack. I mean, they want to try to get things going early, get the ball into the hands of our playmakers and let them see what they can do getting down the field. So I think they're going to be aggressive. I think they're going to be confident and see if we can put those guys in a bind a little bit.
Now, here the Jefferson County student section wants something special for this opening game against Grace.
Yeah, we're going to have a blue out this Friday, so we'd love for everybody, not just the student section, but everybody that's coming to wear your blue. Our theme this year is Believe in Blue, and we want to paint our whole stadium blue this Friday night and really come out and support these guys. I know this team's really looking forward to getting a chance to play for the home crowd and to play for their community and try to start establishing what their identity is going to be as a team, and they're looking for our crowd and our student section, all those guys to get behind us, and they're really looking forward to seeing all that blue wave out there.
Yeah. But for Jefferson County Post Sports with Mike Stanley, I'm Mike Stanley. This is Kenny Cobble. Thank you guys for watching.